Welcome to Market Like A Hotshot. Jeff DeSocio. James Fuda, what's up?
Jeff, what an amazing, amazing night we had last night. And it's a perfect night to lead into what's now episode Sweet 16.
Sweet 16. And never been kissed. No, never mind. But anyways, so we'll be talking about listening like a hotshot. But before we get there, what about last night at the PRX Podcast Garage in Allston, Massachusetts?
That was it was an incredible event. A shout out to my friend, your friend, Bob Cargill.
Bob Cargill.
Bob's a great guy. Bob and I actually met many years ago when we were both teaching in a program that's actually not too far down the road from here.
In the Metro West.
And, one of the cool things about that we were talking last night is how we watch each other's journeys and where it's taken us all. So it was a really, it's going to sound cheesy, but I felt like it was a little bit of a full circle moment to be able to chat with him last night. So it was great. Great event. What was your favorite part? Some of your takeaways.
My favorite part was everything. Chetna, she's our VP of podcasting.
Yeah, Chetna's great. Shout out to her too.
Shout out to you, Chetna, AMA Boston. She did a great job moderating, making sure it wasn't like interviewing. It was more like there was a lot of bouncing between everyone. It was great to have David Meerman Scott there. If anyone doesn't know who he is, he wrote about 12 different books on marketing.
It's going to be 13.
13. He did his press release. Actually, I'm going to post it later.
Yeah.
But he just did his press release this morning for his 13th book.
Wow.
And I love it because we actually talked about something more personal last night about the Grateful Dead. And he even wrote a book about marketing like the Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
As everyone will know, my hair's a lot shorter today, but I was a deadhead at one time in my life, back in the early 90s. I'm really old. But yeah, we talked about that. He's a brilliant guy. I mean, he's got some really high net worth people. He hangs with Brian Halligan, who started HubSpot.
Yeah.
He's one of his best friends. He's on the tour circuit with Tony Robbins. So shout out to David.
Yeah.
Really appreciated meeting you last night, and it was a great crowd too.
It was a good crowd too.
Yeah, they had free parking in Boston.
That was the ideal thing, and your car didn't get towed because we found the right spot to park in.
I didn't park in a fire lane or anything like that. Like I always do. No, I don't. I'm too dumb. But yeah, so a lot of the takeaways, it was good because we're fairly young with Market Like a Hotshot. Right. We're on our 16th episode today. There's a lot to learn, right?
Right.
There's definitely knowing your audience, and that's why I think it's really timely. We're talking about listening like a hot shot, because after all, you got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason.
Right.
God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. You should listen more than you talk. And speaking of talking, I think I'm talking too much. What else you got?
Well, I mean, I had a lot of takeaways. It was funny. I'll share a little bit of a personal story from last night. My pen broke in the middle of it. So I pulled out my phone. I started to take notes on my phone.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, holy cow, why am I doing it this way? So then I opened up an email. Izzy, one of our team members who's helped us with the podcast, so shout out to Izzy, sent her a whole list of things. I'm like, we got to do this. We got to do this. We got to do this. It really did inspire me. So, a lot of takeaways. Like David said that a lot of times people will approach him for interviews. He's like, I'd love to. He's like, let me know when you hit your 1-year anniversary on your podcast, because that's something you and I were talking about on the ride home, right?
Yep. 50. We want to get to 50 before we have guests. So sorry if we're not reaching out to you for a guest, but we want to get to 50 episodes before we're in thousands of listeners. We're almost there, but we're getting there. We're getting there really close. But it's to mature the podcast a little bit. And a big stat was 4% of podcasts last more than a year.
Yeah,
that was a big one.
That was
We're going to be there. Trust me.
Yeah, we're already planning our anniversary party in June of next year.
Yeah, so don't worry about it. We'll be marketing it like a hot shot for many years to come.
Yeah.
So, but that was another good one. So yeah. So what else? One more thing before we get into our main topic today. With anything else or closing thoughts about yesterday?
To narrow it down to one. The thing I really liked about it, and I think it was Alan that shared this, Alan or Trish, that shared a lot of this information, was about telling stories. I love telling stories. I feel like it's fun. I just love to, I spoke at a class last week. You're going to be speaking there on Monday.
Yeah, Clark University. You'll
Yeah,
see
so-
you, Emily, on
Yeah,
Monday.
shout out to Emily.
I'll be talking to the entrepreneur group at Clark University and
Yeah,
Heart of the Commonwealth, Worcester, Massachusetts.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
so yeah, I mean that was another takeaway too, is the whole aspect of storytelling, and it's something that it's an important skill to have, especially in marketing, and and it's stuff that you'll see more and more of on our podcast, because it's
Perfect.
stuff that we're going to do.
Yeah.
So let's dive into today's topic. So
Yes.
Jeff, there is something that you were telling me about that sparked this idea for doing an episode on listening to the customer. So why don't you share your story?
Oh yeah. So yep, the old house needs a new roof, right?
Yeah,
So
that's always fun.
I've been getting some quotes, and I talked to this one company called me about making an appointment for them to inspect my roof.
Yeah.
And they went through all these like rules and regulations. Then they asked me questions like, so are you married? I was like, yes, I have my wife for 25 years, blah, blah, blah. It's like, is she home today? I was like, no, she's working. When is she going to be home? Well, she's home sometimes. She works and she's home. She goes visits family and all that. Well, our rule is both you, the spouses, or anyone that lives in the house has to be there for the appointment. And I'm like, but I just want you to just give me a quote. She doesn't care.
Is it like is it because of the negotiation tactic where it's like you call to a higher authority? Oh, I got to run it by my wife. They're
spouse
trying to
or whatever.
circumvent that. Is that maybe their
That could be it. But the thing was, when I said repeatedly to the
Yeah.
person, I said, don't worry, she does not need to be there. She trusts my judgment. I'm going to
Right.
make the right decision. But he kept pulling. And I'm like, all right. Now finally, I'm like, you know what? Sorry, I'm moving on to another company. It's just, they didn't listen to me.
Right.
It's like, listen to the customer. Listen to, if you want to do business with somebody and you go down to the left and they're going to the right, guess what's going to happen down the road?
Yeah.
No pun intended. Right.
Right. So I mean, like, what he could have done better in this instance is if he just heard you and you said, look, I have the authority from her. It's very difficult for us to get our schedules together. I will bring it to her, or I have authority to do. She's going to go with whatever I say anyway. If they had just listened, like, they wouldn't have lost a potential client.
Yeah, they lost. I mean, how much is a roof these days? 20, 25, 30
Yeah.
grand. But one more thing, we'll move on. So I was like, we may be both home at 9 o'clock next Tuesday. Oh, we could get there at 9. I was like, no, you're not coming to my house at 9 o'clock at night. How the heck are you going to see my roof at 9 o'clock
especially
at
at this time of year. If it were
So that-
July or June, yeah.
So this is like, for the audience out there, really, sorry to be negative, Nilly, like I get sometimes, but
No, but it's
But
important.
it's like, you got to listen to what your customer says. And it goes to you. I heard you have a story too. What was your
Yeah, I
story?
mean, I have so many stories about that where people just don't listen. In fact, I'm actually going to share something that's happened repeatedly to me in the last year, especially, is I want people that pitch the living crap out of me.
Oh,
And
networking
they
events.
Yeah, I mean, well, not only that, but
Yeah.
it's like I had somebody on LinkedIn recently that was sent me a note. We were introduced by somebody. Hey, it's great to meet you. I do this, 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 and this. Is any of this of interest to you? And I'm like, so I ignored it because I'm like, usually it's, this is what I do. Tell me what you do. Not I do this, 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 and this. Is this something you'd be interested in? Like, it's weird. So I kind of let it slide. And I didn't rush to get back to it. But then I got another message. We also offer this. Would this be a good fit for your business? Like, it's literally like pitching me like IT services or things like that. Or we work with customers in this type of industry. Would you be a good fit for our services? And I'm like, it goes back to something I say to you a lot, which is that if these people were dating the way they network, they'd be like going into a bar and being like, hey, let's go get
Excuse me. I just met you. Would you like to marry me someday?
Yeah.
See,
Or even
that's what it is.
worse or more offensive. Like, that's how it's like, it's almost like they're asking for a one night stand. Like,
Yeah, oh,
that's how
yeah.
offensive it is.
It
Forget
is.
about even marriage, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's like, it's It's terrible. So I've had a number of these lately where I've gone in and normally I just keep ignoring them and I start blocking people, but like this particular one, I just said, I gave him feedback because I kind of felt bad for him.
Yeah.
But I mean, I had somebody that like over a period of like 6 months did something like this was a period of like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Someone else over a period of 6 months is like, oh, I help, I help guys and, middle-aged men with, get back in shape. And I'm like, are you telling me I'm not in shape? Like,
Ooh,
like
that's a bad
that's
one.
not how you're doing. And it's from like
Yeah.
the photo of the account. And I'm saying the photo of the account because I have no idea if it's a real person or some dude in a, in one of those boiler rooms. I have no idea who the person behind the account is. But like they have an attractive in shape woman that would just keep sending me these DMs. So like, then the next thing was, oh, we're doing this program. Can I, would you like to sign up? And there was this long letter that they attached, and the person's name that it was signed by was different from the person that
Wrote it.
that
So
wrote
there
it.
you
So
go.
then I'm like, are you the same person? Ignored.
Ignore.
So
So
like,
that's one-way marketing. That's a whole other
yeah,
topic for discussion, but they're not listening
they're not listening
at
because
all.
they're talking and talking. It's
spraying.
one-way marketing, and they're not seeing it. If they had paid attention to any of my responses
Yep.
or my lack of a response,
That might be a tool right there, right?
that I think is the thing that's missing because it's like, you always hear the expression read the room, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't do a really good job at that. So like it's something, and I haven't been perfect at it either, but like a lot of times, like, when you're talking about something, you want to pause for a moment. Like what I typically do is if we're doing a pitch or if we're, trying to sell somebody on something or trying to get people to work with us on something, whatever it is, it's like, I put it out there, wait a couple minutes for them to, or seconds, and it feels like minutes when you're
No.
waiting, right?
Well, yeah, every day.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's why I personally don't like pitching at
Yeah.
all for that reason. Because and this will be like probably an early hot shot tip, and this is for when you're out networking or you're just interacting with people, is just simply ask them questions. Listen to what they have to say. Listen to people. Just
Right.
ping them, and then the panel said that a lot last night. Just when they're interviewing, uh, people on their podcast, it's the same thing, right? You're pinging somebody. You're just understanding their background, what makes them happy,
Yeah.
right?
What problem are they trying to solve?
What are they trying to solve? So again, goes back to 2 ears and
Yeah.
1 mouth, right?
Right.
You listen to what people have to say because, I get it. And I get it. You're in business, you got to make money, right? Everyone's out, we're all good, especially when you're in sales, you have to make money. And it's hard out there. It's probably harder than ever today
Yeah.
to sell a product or a service, right? But there's ways to do it the right way, right? You have to listen to what, be there in front. You have to, goal is always to be in front of the person that's going to buy eventually.
Yeah.
Right. So how do you get there? Right? And that's a key.
Right. And I mean, it's something where a lot of times these people that you finally do get in front of them and you talk to them and you ask them what are some of your challenges, what are things like that. I've had recently a number of folks, a number of leads that have turned into clients that have, said to us, "Oh, you're actually listening." It's like, you're not pitching me, you're not trying to find it's kind of like when you walk in Home Depot and you see like or Lowe's and you see a nice tool on sale.
Yeah.
You're like, "Oh, this is a nice chainsaw. All right, what can I cut down with it?" A lot of people take that approach and they're always trying to like fit everything into that. Where a much better approach, and that's one of the things that we use with people is that they'll call us and say, I have a problem. My site was hacked.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, all right, tell me more about it.
Yeah.
Instead of, all right, you need to go onto our website and order this threat protection package.
That's not good. Anyways, another listen like a hot shot, and this is in the hospitality industry.
Yeah.
Where you go to a restaurant and there's just set in their ways in their menu. Like this steak has this type of pepper, this type of vegetable goes with it. Like and this is big today with gluten-free dining, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. gluten-free is a huge deal today.
And it's important too,
It's
because if they
important.
screw that up,
People get very sick.
Yeah.
So have you ever been to a place that, they're just set in their ways and what their meals are, and that's it?
yes. In fact, I'm not going to name names on this one, but yeah, I had an experience that I'll share after you.
Yeah, we don't want no more negativity today, right? But yeah, so this is another case where, I've been to some restaurants there. They'll say, we need X, we need A, B, and C, and they accommodate. They go out of their way. And a lot of times it's higher end restaurants that do that. That's why I love to go to higher end restaurants, to that reason, because the service is way better usually. But that's a key there. I always look at when somebody goes out of their way after they listen to what you have to say. That's something I'm gonna put 5 stars on a Google review or Yelp or wherever
Yeah.
you're doing reviews. So you have to always remember that. That's where if you go out of the way and build a relationship with your customers and listen to them, with the internet today, we just talk about reviews.
Hmm.
Man, people watch reviews like crazy. I mean,
It's
that's
insane.
another big thing to chat about when it comes to listening.
Yeah.
So what do you got?
I'm
putting them on the spot today.
I
What
know.
do you
As
think of
we're
this,
talking
huh?
about a lot of things like reviews, I mean, it's amazing how a lot of the reviews reflect the fact that the person receiving the bad review is not listening. Like, I was traveling back in the spring over the summer, and I remember some of the hotel reviews on there were like, we had a problem, we brought it to your attention, you did nothing. And that's all of their, the majority of their negative reviews are like that. It's like, we came into the room, the bathroom wasn't clean, we felt like we couldn't use it. We went down, told the front desk, nobody did anything.
Yeah.
It's like that, to me, it's like when you hear something like that, I would think, all right, we're going to send maid service. I don't care if it's midnight. If I were running that hotel, whoever's working the front desk should have the authority to either bring someone in that can take care of it.
Yeah.
Because if somebody is coming, late to a hotel.
Yeah. So I have to. This is another shout out. This is the podcast of shout outs.
Yeah.
But the city that we live in, Framingham, Massachusetts, I have to shout out to the paving department. They just repaved all our streets. Great story yesterday. So our street, like they repaved all the streets in our neighborhood, which are nice. It's all new and all. But they use this like gravel crap that like kicks up everywhere. So I sent a note to the city of Framingham at 11 o'clock yesterday. At 12:30, all of a sudden I hear, I hear the paving machine going down my street
Fixing it.
within 2 hours. Wow, listening. Again, that's good government service. Shout out to Charlie and his team. I'm gonna get a little political. I hope get reelected as mayor in November. But just that's a show of great operations right there. And listening, because
Right.
in public service, that's a classic place where they don't listen to you, right? It's like politics. So we're getting a little controversial here today.
Yeah.
Politicians don't listen to each other. Never. That's that. If there's a profession that doesn't listen like a hotshot, it's a politician.
They don't listen to the voters
They
either.
listen.
Quite
They
a
don't
bit,
even
too.
listen to the voters. They listen to their agenda and all that. So
Yeah.
don't be the word. Tip number 2, tactic number 2. Don't be a politician when it comes to listening, right? So, yeah. So I was just impressed with that because I know I've lived in some places in the past that they don't care. It's too bad. That's the way the street's going to look. But I was impressed hearing that noise.
Yeah.
It was just.
The thing is that, and this is a little bit bigger than our topic of listening like a hotshot, but like customer service overall like a hotshot. A lot of businesses fail with that, and one that actually does exceptionally well is always like Disney parks in particular. I remember reading a story about somebody that went down there, and they were um, people would go into a store and say, "Where can I get a map of the Magic Kingdom?" And they're like, "Oh, you can walk out to that card. It's right down the road." And they make a note of it, and then someone else comes in and asks the same question. Where can I get a map? So then what happens is that feedback gets sent to management, and they're like, "Wow, we've had 10 people today ask us about where I can find a map." And what they do is they're like, maybe we should put a map at this location if they're looking for it to make it easier for them. A lot of times, I think people they don't listen to the customer, listen to the client, and they're missing out on a huge opportunity to better serve them because that's something Disney does exceptionally well.
Yeah.
Like, when you're talking about restaurants, it made me think about, the gluten-free and all of that stuff. There's someone in my family with a tomato allergy. We went to a restaurant. You used to work at this chain. Well, I won't mention the
Oh, boy.
chain on there, but it's one that, you and I have talked about a little bit, where we ordered something and it wasn't supposed to come with tomato on it. It was like a
Yeah.
Caesar salad, and
Yeah.
it had tomato on it. And then so she was like, "Oh, I'm allergic, and it's a severe allergy." So they send it back. They bring it out. What they did is they scraped the tomatoes off. You
That's
could
not
see the
good.
juice.
You
You could
see
see
the
all that
seeds is
stuff.
probably still there.
Yeah, you could see the seeds on there. And I'm just like, we were like, this is awful.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, it's like, you're lucky this isn't the Board of Health because you would get shut down. Or, I mean, we have friends that have, and I'm sure you know people too, that have peanut allergies. There's a lot of allergies that could lead to anaphylactic shock.
Yeah.
So like Disney, they take it extremely careful.
Well, they have to. They
Yeah.
get sued
Like
that,
they'll
right?
put a flag on your dish that says what the allergy is,
Yeah.
and they'll send the chef out.
Yeah.
So like that's really taking it, listening to the customer in the best way possible. Do you have an issue with this? Like I remember hearing a story about somebody, they had a shellfish allergy, and they're like, oh, don't have the steamed corn because it's steamed near where we steam the oysters. And it's like that's stuff you wouldn't even think of. Right?
That's exactly it. So, yeah, so let's go for a landing here. Tips, hot shot tactics. We talked about networking a little bit. A networking approach. If you're at an event or even at your kid's soccer team, you're networking with people. I know you want to be in pitch mode sometimes, even at a soccer game. Turn it around and make it a question.
Right.
Right? If like I sell health and wellness products, right? So I'm not going to ask, hey, do you want to lose weight? Because I'll get slapped. But do you want to get healthy? I don't care about my health. Okay, I move on.
Right.
Hands down. All right. If they're not into it, yeah, don't keep plugging them. Right. So big thing is in interacting with people. Instead of turn your pitch into questions. Ask them as questions. Sit back, take a drink of your tea. This is tea, by the way. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and just listen to what they have to say. If they're receptive, you continue the conversation. If they're not, you move on or ask them, do you know anybody? That's a kind of a sales tip right there, right?
Right.
That's one tip. So the networking approach. What's another? I think it's surveys. Talk about surveys. What do you think of those? We do that with AMA. Like you probably got our survey after the event, right? We want to know how we did.
Yeah.
Do you think surveys are a quality way to?
I think surveys are effective. One of the challenges with it is that people will usually only fill them out if they're extremely happy or extremely unhappy. It's the same thing with reviews. You rarely get people that do things in if they're somewhere in the middle. So it does skew your results a little bit. Where they can be really useful is if they see the benefit of them filling it out and explaining to them that, we're reaching out to you from AMA because we want to know how we can make things better. So whether you love the event, you hated it, or it satisfied your needs, let us know so we can either continue to offer things like this, offer things differently, or change what we're offering. And that's one way I think that surveys can be super effective. That's what we do with ours.
Yeah.
We take an approach like that when we reach out to.
So now I think, and this is another thing, sometimes people are afraid to say a bad thing. They don't want to be negative. But, I'm going to be honest with you. When you do a survey, don't worry, tell it like it is because, a good business owner is going to listen to what you have to say and adjust. Like if we saw something, hey, the cheese was cold. Or cheese is supposed to be cold. They'll say something like the food was cold. Okay, cool. Next time we'll make sure
to do it better.
We do it better. You have to, constructive criticism is another tip in listening. I think from both sides.
Exactly.
You in a nice way. You don't have to be bitchy about it. Sorry to swear on our show.
It's all right.
We're not on Spotify anymore. But so you have to be blunt and ask the tough questions.
You gotta be honest.
And be honest coming back, because you know what, as a business owner, whether I'm in my recruiting stuff or whatever I do, it's listen what they have to say. Get that constructive criticism. They do that all the time. My company, recruiting company, Jeff, you gotta do this other way. It's not like I'm gonna get all angry and say, it's too bad. No, it's like, wow, that's awesome. I actually love it. So, tactic number 3, take constructive criticism seriously.
Right.
Because it proves that you're listening to the other person and taking action with that. So.
Yeah, and the thing about constructive criticism that I think is a challenge for a lot of people too is that you sometimes will want to take not only constructive but even positive, like positive feedback. Take it with a grain of salt in some cases because you want to factor in who's giving you that feedback and what the intentions are.
That's a great point. So when you're getting feedback, it's I'm going to pick on my poor mom. Yeah. Right. But when we went to Montreal over the summer for an anniversary, she's like, "Why are you going there? That place isn't that great." I was like, "When was the last time you've been to Montreal, Mom?" 1980. 45 years ago.
I think I was there in 86 was the last.
So it's my point there, and I'm sorry to pick on your mom. I love you. It's like, see where you're getting the criticism from. Like, make sure that they've had the experience that they are what you strive to be, right? Like somebody like last night with David or one of those podcasters, they've been doing it for so long.
Right.
We want to strive to be. So when you're getting that criticism, see who you're getting that criticism from and take action from it.
And often too, like you mentioned your mom, the people that love us and care about us, sometimes they give us feedback that's really meant to protect us from stuff that they're unclear of.
Yeah.
So that's kind of an example because maybe your mom's like, "Oh, I really want Jeff and Heather to have a wonderful anniversary."
Yeah.
And they're going up to this place that I'm not terribly fond of. I don't know if they're going to be able that's kind of what it is like really looking at it because you may get constructive criticism that may or may not be accurate.
Yeah.
But the intent can be both positive in the case of your mom, or it could be like someone that is just like, you're going out to Montreal, like they're just, we went to Hawaii for our 25th anniversary, they could be doing that to show off. So the intent,
They must drive a Lamborghini. Yeah, probably. Yeah. So it's so these are like some of the things we want to talk about, and you probably heard some great stories today. That's life, right? You're gonna have these interactions in life all the time, right? The roofer, a trip, whatever you're doing, you're always doing that stuff. So wow, we got some visitors over there, James. There's peeking in on us.
People are coming in, seeing Market Like A Hotshot.
We need security here, man. What do you think? We're getting popular. So all right, man. I think we are good. So what do you think? We gotta tell people to subscribe to Market Like a Hotshot on all our favorite places like Spotify, Apple, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and like I always say, what do I always say every week about YouTube?
If you want to see our wonderful Italian faces, come on to YouTube.
Come on to YouTube. So Market Like a Hotshot, listen like a hotshot, 2 ears, 1 mouth, great tips. We'll have a great day. What do you think, man?
I think that's good. We will see you after this at episode 17.
17.
Coming up next.